Race 2, round 2, the 2022 Italian F4 Championship, presented as ever by WSK Promotion. Welcome to the Italian seaside town of Misano on what is a slightly overcast morning here this morning. The sky, well, it was black, very black, and we had a few drops of rain just a moment ago. It is a warm morning this morning, though, and hopefully that rain does hold off. We have got a packed grid here this morning. It is the most competitive junior motor racing series in the world, but having said that, look at the red and white cars. The Prema Power team lock out the first 3 rows of the grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the grid for the Prema Power team drivers as you look at yesterday's race winner, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, to the right of your screen, who starts on pole position. Alongside is Charlie Verts, James Wharton, Rafa Kamara, the race 1 winner at Imola, and Conrad Lausen, the first 5 positions on the grid. Then it's Marcus Aman, the first non-Prema Power team car. And then the Iron Lynx team drivers, Maya Werg, she starts out as 7 where she finished yesterday alongside Ivan Dominguez from Portugal. We go back to the 5th row of the grid. It's Martinez alongside Nikita Brando, by the way. Good drive from him yesterday. Starts on the 6th row of the grid alongside the 2-time WSK Champions Cup karting champion TB from England. M-Flap, Casper Stuka, Emo Fittipaldi, and Nikhil Borda, Jonas Reed, Arias Dirkmedian, Jules Castro, the Mozambican Pedro Perino, Valentin Klus, Alfio Spinner, P12 yesterday for the Sicilian, Pedro Claro, and Ethan Isha. Elias Perendio, William Carlson. On debut is the Swede, Kim Waring, Frasinetti for Cars Racing, Fred Lund, Victoria Blochina, the Moscovite, is ahead of Manuel Condom Carlo, Jane Rishab, Alex Dunn, the championship leader on the 17th row of the grid, ahead of Giovanni Maschio, Ishmael Ahmed, and Alexander Partishev, who is not taking part in race 2 here this morning. The field set off on this, the formation lap. We welcome you to the MotoGP circuit of Misano, Il Circuito Marco Simoncelli, which next weekend will host the World Superbike Championship. Still a tri-track. You may remember in 2019, similar weather conditions, incredibly humid when the skies opened up and we had a race cancelled. Let's hope that's not the case here this morning, or indeed for race 3 here this afternoon. There's M-Flag going through the R-Ace GP entry, car 71. Just getting back to 2 points we made during the grid. Alex Dunn, the championship leader, he only set 1 lap in qualifying, and therefore the championship leader who finished P3 yesterday, the 17th row of the grid. Alexander Partishev, well, as we speak, he is still in a nearby hospital at Rimini. He's fine, fortunately, that's the most important thing. We cannot avoid the talking issue of the sausage curves or the ripple strip. No, they're not ripple strips. On the outside of turn 14, he launched like a light aircraft and landed very awkwardly. His teammate from 2021, Santiago Ramos, did the same and actually broke some vertebrae. Alexander Partishev, he is fine. The car is fine. There is a chance we'll see him back for race 3, but he's struggling to be or get released from hospital, get permission to get back to the circuit. As we look at one of the PHM cars going through in force. That was Taylor in 77. His teammates include Victoria Blochina, Nikita Vedran. There's Conrad Lausen. Good drive yesterday from the Dane. Look at the Prema Power team drivers. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th on the grid. Van Amersfoort Racing, they won the title in 2021 with Ollie Beerman. But the Dutch team not having a great start to the 2022 championship. There are the aforementioned sausage curbs. Boy, oh boy. Still trying to figure out what purpose they serve, what useful purpose they serve. Anyhow, let's look at the Prema Power team drivers. Andrea Kimi Antonelli won race 1 yesterday. If you missed our coverage, it was a cracking race. Rafa Kamara led for the most of the race after starting out of grid 2. But Antonelli jumped him on the penultimate lap to take his maiden victory in 2022. What a tremendous sight this is. Here at Misano, the nightmare of the last 2 years is well and truly over. We are back on track with a packed field of 36 cars in the 2022 Italian F4 Championship, presented by WSK Promotion. The Premier Power team lock out the first 2.5 rows on the grid. That championship leader, the Irishman Alex Dunn, on the 17th row, and has one almighty task to come through from the back of the pack. Welcome to the MotoGP circuit of Misano. Race 2, round 2, the Italian F4 Championship for 2022. Antonelli, yesterday's race winner, on pole position. The 5 red lights, the green flag at the back of the grid, and we race. Super start from Charlie Wirtz. From the outside of the front row of the grid jumps his teammate, and it's the Austrian who leads the Premier Power team, and indeed the entire field down into turn 1. Fantastic start from Charlie. Antonelli into second place. A clean start as they make their way up through the first few corners. Brando already making up a couple of places on this, the opening lap of the race. Up the inside goes Maya Werg. She moves up a position, trying to take the attack to Marcus Ahmad, who's immediately in front of her, and then the Premier Power team drivers who are dominating here at Misano this morning. Wirtz leads for the first time in the 2022 championship. Marcus Ahmad in the middle of the circuit. That is Maya on the outside. Martinez, great start from the Norwegian. He's up into P8 in car 34 for the Van Amersfoort racing team, but Charlie Wirtz, the English-Austrian from Monte Carlo, leads the opening stages of lap 1 as they come up the back straight for the first time. They exit Tramonto. A clean start. Charlie leads this incredibly competitive field. Antonelli in second place. That's Wharton in third. From Kamada, Lawson, Amand, Stenson, Bedran, Werg, Barnard up into P10. Marcus down the inside. Here goes the French Finn for the US racing team. And the Premier Power team, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, now it's just the first 4 as Amand goes up into 5th place. Nice pass by Marcus. Maya tries to follow Marcus through. She's got her own problems in the form of Nikita Bedran, who's just ahead for PHM Racing in car 15. They come across the line for the first time. Wirtz with a lead of just 0.3 of a second. Back to yesterday's race winner. Werg on the inside trying to make the move on the PHM Racing team driver. That's Taylor Barnard on her inside, and the Englishman takes her. Nicely done by TB. Moves up inside the top 10 now. Dominguez back to 11 from Kasper Stuka, Brando Baloea, Flack and Turkmedjian, the American in P15. We are looking for Alex Dunn, the championship leader. He's had a disastrous start. We're trying to pick him up. He's way out of picture on our timing screen. He started P32, and that's exactly where the Irishman still runs. Clean start for race 2 here this morning. There's Barnard going through ahead of Werg. And her teammate, that's Ivan Dominguez for the Iron Lynx team. Also racing in the GT World Challenge over at Paul Ricard this weekend. A full program for the Iron Lynx team. Also in selected rounds of the World Endurance Championship as we go back in the pack to pick up car 19, who's gone around. William Carlson on debut and does rejoin. Marcus Amand on the charge, tries to take Rafa Kamara as Antonelli down the inside. A replay of what he did yesterday, and the Italian who won race 1 yesterday goes through to take his teammate, and Antonelli leads Wirtz. The 2 second-generation racers, Andrea from Charlie, and there's Jimmy James in position 3. Still the Premier Power team, 1, 2, 3, 4, Marcus Amand. P5, good drive from Martinez. There's Dominguez going through for the Iron Lynx team. So Amand ahead of Conrad. Martinez, Nikita Taylor, and Myers in position 10. Nice move down the inside of Marcus Flack. Arias Turkmedjian in car 2, the American and the Australian. Miguel Borda and Fittipaldi as we take a look at the replay for the move. Just lined him up exactly what he did to his other teammate Kamada yesterday, and Antonelli leads the Premier Power team on pit wall, and they run 1, 2, 3, 4. There is Amand in the background. Conrad Lawson has dropped a couple of places. Taylor Barnard going through just behind his PHM Racing teammate Nikita Bedran. Antonelli already starting to pull away. There is Rafa Kamara, race 1 at Imola to start the season. He's in P4 at the moment. They come on to the back straight over 200 k's an hour. Antonelli just checks the mirrors, back to Charlie Wirtz. Great start from Charlie. to jump his teammate from grid 2, the outside of the front row of the grid, James Wharton. Car 13 going through in P3, and then Rafa Kamara. There's Amand. Alex Dunn, we're trying to pick up the championship leader, showing on our timing screen, still circulating, but a lap down. So they come across the line, the race settles into a rhythm, still the red and white cars, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's Rafa Kamara. Back to Ahmad. Conrad going through just ahead of Martinez Tensone. Nikita Vedran, Taylor Barnard. Car 37, Kasper Stuka for US Racing. He won race 3 at Imola to start the series. Finished in the gravel in race 1 yesterday. Kasper P12, just ahead of Brando Baboya. Marcus Flack, Arias Dirkmejian, Nick Gilbora, Emo Fittipaldi, P10 yesterday, but the Brazilian-American, as we watch Maya go through in the 83 Iron Dames car. Emo down in 17th place, just ahead of Pedro Berino. So we approach the first third of the race. Still the Prema Power team dominant here this weekend at Misano. Into Tramonto, the sunset curve at the far part of the circuit. That's Wharton. Actually, Wharton. I don't speak German, but apparently Charlie's second name. Starts with a W, but pronounced with a V. Charlie in second place. There's Jimmy James from Melbourne, Australia, in third place. And Rafa, the Brazilian, in P4. James was in position 3 for most of yesterday's race as the car bottoms out on this incredibly cambered circuit. There's Amand in the background. Fell back to P5 when Antonelli went through to lead the race. And Dunn jumped in to finish P3, but Alex Dunn is down in position 35. A disaster. He will almost certainly lose the championship lead here this morning. As we go back to Marcus Amand. It's the US Racing Team driver going through. Alex Dunn, car 22, there is an issue with Alex, he's a lap down. We did get a confirmation. Yes, he is a lap down. Trying to make this out before we actually announce it to you. He is a lap down, but that is car 22 in P5 on the circuit. That's the confusion. Alex is a lap down, but running with the leaders. We thought it was a timing issue. No, Alex, position 35. Despite being on your screen just a few moments ago. Apologies for the confusion as James goes through. So this is a disastrous race. It's all going to come for nothing. There's Marcus Amand going through. That is indeed Alex. P6 on the road, but a lap down. So he's 35th overall. Charlie in second place. Good run from Verts this weekend. Wharton and Rafa Kamara, the Oak Racing Team entry for the Prema Power team. Again, he bottoms out as they go up into the Caro curves. So the first third of this race 2, round 2, the Italian F4 Championship here at Misano. Fortunately, since the race has started, the black sky over towards San Marino has cleared and the sun has come out to shine. A very warm morning, almost 30 degrees Celsius. In fact, it's just clicked over 30. Incredibly humid, and the Prema Power team are dominating here. Race 2 here this morning. They took the title in 2020 with Gabriele Mini. They also won it previously, firstly with Lance Stroll back in 2014. Let's look at the US Racing Team drivers going through. 52 is Marcus Amand. That's the championship leader. P6 on the road. Alex Dunn is 1 lap down. He's in position 35. He has been lapped after an incident on the first lap of the race. He's on your screen. He's 6th on the road. He's lapping as quickly as the leaders. We do not know. Trying to find out what did happen off screen to Alex. He's in position 35. That's his teammate just ahead. And that's why Conrad Larson is 7th on the road, but 6th in the race. So Martinez goes through. There's Nikita Vedran for PHM Racing P3 at Imola. Taylor Barnard and Maya Work still continue this fabulous battle. Well, Maya try and send it up the inside. Indeed, she does at the very last moment. Almost runs into the back of Taylor. And that gives Casper Stuka hope as well. The race 3 winner from Imola. Maya Work trying to make an attack on Taylor Barnard. She's lost momentum. She comes onto the straight in position 11. That's Brando Babawe just behind for Van Amersfoort Racing in car 33. And Taylor Barnard from Norwich in England just does escape ever so slightly, fending off the challenge of the Ferrari junior driver for Team Iron Dames. Straight over the flattened out ripple strips down through turn 3. The Rio curves here at Misano. This fabulous fight between the former WSK karting champions. Taylor Barnard, 2 times he won the WSK Champions Cup at Adria Raceway, the same circuit where Maya Work took the 2016 WSK Final Cup, beating Kirill Small and I'm going to say Antonelli on that day, some 5 or 6 years ago now. Actually, it was further than that, 2016. Minus 22, yeah, quite a few years ago. Maya took the title, and Taylor, who won the WSK Champions Cup in 2020, they edge out Jat Brando Badoer, Marcus Vlack, Turkmenian. So Marcus Zaman, car 52, trying to bridge the gap to the Prima Power Team drivers who are dominating here this morning. 1/3 race distance, a clean start. The field have spread themselves out surprisingly, as we see one of the Van Amersfoort Racing drivers, that is Jules Castro, the Belgian, going around down into the Rio curves, turn 2, off the racing line, but does rejoin. He's in position 33. 35 starters, 35 still in the race. That's not what Alex Dunn needed. He needed to come charging up through the field and race for some DNFs to get some points, but it's not going to happen for the Irishman. There's James in P3. An unusually sedate race here this morning, 1/3 race distance here at Misano. Antonelli has pulled out, he's gone. He's 2.7 seconds down the road. Wirtz in second place, Wharton, Kamara. 1, 2, 3, 4, go the Prima Power Team drivers. Marcus Amand, if he can get amongst the red and white cars, he can get in this fight for the final step of the podium. The French Finn is at 1.8 seconds behind the US racing team. They had a brilliant run at Imola to start the series, but this weekend, it's just not happening. Down the back straight. On this, lap 8, Antonelli with a lead of almost 3 seconds after retaking the lead from his teammate Charlie Wirtz, who jumped him off the start. There's James Wharton. So the Ferrari junior drivers in 3rd with James, 4th with Rafa, and P11 with Maya. But it's the Mercedes AMG Junior of Andrea Kimi Antonelli who leads the way here this morning. Great drive from Andrea, picked up just a single point in 10th place in race 3 at Imola. The Prima Power Team on the pit wall. Rafa, Conrad, James, Kimi and Charlie just pitted next to the US racing team. There's James Wharton going through. As we take a look at this, which happened just a moment ago, up the inside, trying to make the move, Ethan Aisha, and losing the front wing with one of the PHM racing cars. And we continue on as we approach half race distance. This has to be the most sedate race we have ever seen in F4 history. Usually it is chaotic. Yesterday was a cracking race. Antonelli taking the lead on the penultimate lap of the race. The sun is shining. The Pirelli tyres are gripped up here at Misano for race 2, round 2. As indeed Charlie locks up, going into Tramonto curves. And down the back straight, the gap. 2.7 seconds a moment ago between Kimi and Charlie. There's Amand, and there is Alex Dunn doing nothing but burning the Pirelli tyres, down in 35th place, a lap down. Conrad Larson, good drive from Martinez. There's Nicky de Bedron heading off. Ivan Dominguez, the Iron Lynx team driver from Portugal, in position 9, and Taylor Barnard rounds out the 10. Casper, Maya, Brando, Marcus Flack, Arias Turkmenian, as Dominguez has a big look At the back of Nikita, who runs wide. Does Bedrin, nicely done by Dominguez around the outside. Keeps it on the circuit, fabulous pass by Dominguez. That was an intelligent move. And he takes him. Kim Hua-reng, after that contact just a few moments ago, down in pit lane. He's almost certainly going to become the first retirement from this race, half race distance. Bedrin going through, P9, car 15 behind Dominguez, and then his PHM Racing teammate Taylor Barnard. Bedrin on the podium in race 3 at Imola. The PHM Racing team had a fabulous start to the 2022 series. Also racing in the United Arab Emirates F4 Championship, which saw the all-new world debut of this fabulous Tartas T421 chassis as Brando goes through. In car 33, more cars on the way, more drivers on the way. Worldwide parts supply shortage not only affecting motor racing, but basically every industry on earth. The Tartas factory have been working 7 days a week. They have already made 130 of these F4 cars, with orders of more than 50 still to complete if they could just get the componentry. So there's more drivers lining up to join us throughout the series, as Dirk Medjian just ahead of his teammate Emo Fittipaldi. That's Emo in car 17. The two American-born drivers for the Dutch team, Van Amersfoort Racing, who took the title in 2021 with Ollie Beerman and Nikhil Borda. So in fact, 3 American-born drivers in that battle. Dirk Medjian, Fittipaldi, Borda, and then Il Siciliano, Alfio Spina. The leaders already going by into turns 2 and 3, the Rio curves. Fittipaldi, P10 yesterday. There's Spinner just behind. Car 44, Nikhil Borda. Having a good run here this morning, and there is 77. Alfio Spina just missed the top 10 yesterday. '77, of course, Taylor Barnard. This battle between the two Van Amersfoort Racing team drivers. It's, of course, Nikhil Borda just ahead in 44. And a good drive from Valentin Plus on debut, the former German kart racing champion in this, the F4 series. The battle for position 3. The procession, we should probably more accurately describe it as such. Marcus Aman trying to bridge the gap, but almost in vain at the moment. Antonelli with almost 4 seconds over his teammates. Race 1 winner yesterday, and it looks as though he'll repeat the dose here this morning. He's gone down into turn 1. Ethan Isher has just exited pit lane. You've got a glimpse of the Jensen Motorsport driver, who is about to see the blue flag because the race leader is about to come steaming up behind Ethan, who will also, along with Alex Dunn, the championship leader, go a lap down in just a moment. Charlie Burt's P2, Wharton P3. The Prema Power team have had a brilliant history in the Italian F4 Championship, inaugural champions with Lance Stroll back in 2014. There is Ethan, does the right thing, pulls out of the way for Antonelli. 2015 they won the title with Ralph Aron. Marcus Siebert for Jensen Motorsport in 16. Then it was 2 Prema Power Team victories in a row. The Kiwi Marcus Armstrong and Enzo Fittipaldi in 2018 and Gabriele Mini. Il Siciliano in 2020. They're back on top after Van Amersfoort Racing. And the beer man, Ollie, took the 2021 championship. This is a dominant performance here this morning. Wirtz just pulls away ever so slightly from his teammate Wharton. The gap, 0.9 of a second. James at the moment on the final step of the podium. Rafa Kamada, the race 1 winner from Imola in P4. There's Marcus Aman, Conrad Larson, Martinius up into P7. From Dominguez, Bedrin and Barnard at the moment. Dunn still circulating his 33rd and will almost certainly lose the championship lead in 10 minutes' time. Lap 13, race 2, round 2, the Italian F4 Championship. So some 1.3 seconds off the qualifying time set by Antonelli 24 hours ago. Good drive this from Charlie Wirtz. The middle of the 3 Wirtz siblings. Older brother Felix giving up a promising career in rallycross to become a world-class DJ. And younger brother Oscar, factory driver for the Tony Kart racing team. Charlie in second place. James Wharton, the Ferrari Junior, in third, and another Ferrari Junior right behind him, Rafa Kamada. Marco Zaman just starting to catch them in what has been one of the most processional races we've ever seen in F4 history so far. Surprisingly, very surprisingly, in fact. And probably thankfully as well. No safety car, no yellow flags. So James through in third place. The Van Amersfoort Racing team drivers still fight amongst themselves. Dirk Medjian, Fittipaldi, nice move up the inside by Alfio Spinner, but goes in too deep on Nikhil Borda. And now the 2 VAR cars go side by side down the back straight. Fittipaldi in 17, Dirk Medjian into around the outside, IndyCar style from Fittipaldi. Can he hold on as Dirk Medjian on the ripple strip? He's got the inside line. Fittipaldi tries to cut across. Dirk Medjian covers him off. And Arias cops a touch from his teammates. Emo runs into the back of Arias. They go defensive, they lose time all the while back to Bora and Spinner. Perino, Claro, Klus, Blockina, Lund, Sperandio for Maffei Racing. 2 is Arias Dirk Medjian, racing in the United States Formula 4 Championship and the United States Formula Regional Championship in 2021. Dirk Medjian in 15th place in this 36 car field. That's car 9 of Alfio Spinner, former WSK International Kart Racing Champion. Won the WSK Supermaster Series and the WSK Euro Series. Spinner, P12 yesterday in what was only his 4th ever car race. P18 at the moment, that's Bora just ahead. As Emo has a look down the inside into turn 8, Quercia curve. Good drive also from Pedro Perino, car 11 for US Racing. The African driver in the gravel yesterday in race 1 as Emo tries the outside line. We'll try and cut back as they run down the back straight. And again, the 2 VAR drivers go wheel to wheel. Arias just drives right. Covers the line, gives the toe to his teammate. Fittipaldi tries the outside line. And then we'll try and cut back the inside. 3 left curves, over the ripple strip, over the grass. Watch Arias go defensive. He comes Bora with a send, tries to take both the VAR cars. Fabulous battle between the 2 teammates. Bora, the 3rd of the American-born drivers, Fittipaldi, is about to be taken. Nikhil Borda just sends it into the final curve. And Bora splits the 2 VAR cars. Enthralling battle, Dirk Medjian, now Nikhil Borda. Fittipaldi's Spinner is in this battle as well. That's Pedro Perino, Pedro Claro, Plus, and Victoria Blockina. Victoria for PHM Racing. Good drive for the Moscovite. She's in P22 ahead of Frederick Lund, Ilya Sperendio, and Frasinetti as down the inside. But Spinner takes him on the outside. Frustrating for Emo Fittipaldi. As we move into the dying stages, race 2, round 2 of the F4 Championship. Antonelli, meanwhile, is gone 4.5 seconds ahead of his teammate. Lock up from Dirk Medjian, just ahead of Pedro Claro, who won the opening round of the Brazilian F4 Championships just a few weeks ago in an identical car. Great to see the South American nation back in international open wheeler racing. The 2 VAR cars wheel to wheel, side by side. Dirk Medjian and Emo Fittipaldi. Nikhil Borda says enough of this. And the driver from New York, USA goes through and takes the place. Nicely done by Nikhil. As the VAR cars, VAR team frustrated on pit wall. They won the series, including 8 victories in a row in 2021 with Ollie Bierman. But here their best runner is Martini Ascension at P7 with no answer for the almighty Prema Power team. So Rafa in P4, Marcus Amand. This is just all dominant from the Prema Power team, first 4. And then Conrad in 6th place as well. Frustration for everyone, except the team from Vicenza. Marcus Amand for US Racing. Well, it looked as though US Racing, and they may well still be in contention, this is only the second of 7 rounds, will take the fight up to VAR and Prema Power team after a fabulous debut round at Imola. But this weekend, Antonelli, the second-generation racer, leads from his teammate Wirtz, Wharton and Kamara, and US Racing P5, and almost certainly to lose the championship leader. Alex Dunn still circulating, but down in 33rd place. No safety car, barely a yellow flag, just a blue flag for Ethan Aisha earlier on. Marcus Amand trying to catch up to Rafa Kamara. 0.7 of a second behind. From here, of course, we go to Spa-Francorchamps for the first time in 2 weeks' time. 2 times we race outside the home nation of Italy. We go to Spa in 2 weeks. First time at the Belgian Grand Prix circuit, and back to the fabulous Red Bull Ring in Austria. That's in September. And before the summer break, round 4 outside the eternal city of Rome in Vallelunga. Ahmad behind Kamara as James locks up the brake ever so slightly, but he's on the podium still at the moment, just needs to hang on for another 3 minutes, 30 seconds plus a single lap as Antonelli continues to dominate and goes 2 from 2. If he can win this race, as we move into the dying stages of race 2, round 2, here at Misano, he goes through down into the Caro curves as his teammates flat down the back straight, gear over 200 k's an hour. Marcus Amand driving as hard as he possibly can. Car 52 flames out the exhaust as he lifts ever so slightly the turbocharged Abarth engine. The all-new Tartas T421 car with the Pirelli tyres. There is Conrad. P6, good drive for the Dane with Martini Ascension just behind. The best of the Dutch cars here is the Norwegian. Martinius in the gravel yesterday at DNF, but a better recovery here this morning. Almost gets the toe from Conrad Larsen. Martini Ascension, former driver for the Lennox Racing team, driving the Charles Leclerc chassis in WSK International Karting Competition. Actually did take a couple of victories as well. P7 here this morning. 4.7 seconds between Antonelli and Wirtz, and nobody has got an answer for the second-generation racer Andrea Kimi. His father Marco, former Italian touring car and GT racer, still running the team Antonelli Motorsport, which competed with us this weekend at this ACI Racing Weekend. Last night, the Italian GT Championships under lights, spectacular, with a field of 40 GT3 and GT4 cars, as Alex does park it, and the championship leader gets 0 from race 2 here this morning. Had the honour of leading both the Italian and the British F4 championships, but that is likely to change by this afternoon. A DNF here this morning and a dominant display by the Prema Power team. As Valentin Plus on debut is the German, former German kart racing champion, just ahead of Victoria Blockina. Good drive from her, the former Ward Racing Tony Kart team driver from Moscow for PHM Racing, behind Valentin. Alfio Spinner car 9 on the back of Arias Dogmedjian. There is Alex down in pit lane talking to Gerhard Unger. Well, disappointment for the Irishman. Most certainly is about to lose the championship lead in, what, 1 minute and 1 lap's time. So the next is likely to be the penultimate lap, as they just sneak across the line, 30 minutes plus 1 lap, as we pick up the race leader, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Multiple international kart racing champion, formerly with Kart Republic, before that with Energy Course Team. Actually had a stint with the Tony Kart Racing Team early on in his career. From a motor racing family, lives just up the road in Bologna here in Italy's Motor Valley. And he has dominated here this morning. He's about to get the last lap board next time round. Antonelli with a 5-second lead over his teammate. The Prema Power Team dominates race 2, round 2 here at Misano this morning. 30 minutes pass by, last lap next time round. The last lap board about to be displayed for Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who's lapping in a 1:35.7. That's still a quick time. There's the blue flag for the lap traffic in what has been one of the most unusually sedate races in F4 history. Last lap, ultimo giro for Andrea Kimi Antonelli on what is almost his home circuit. A dominant performance. He's done the fastest lap of the race as well, a 1:35.246, which would have almost qualified him on pole position, almost, in race conditions as well. He has dominated from the outset. Almost. Charlie Verse did get the jump, his teammate off the line, so a good drive from Charlie into second place, and James looks as though he'll take his first podium of the series here this morning at Misano. So down into the Tramonto curves for the final time. A disaster in the opening round of the championship. He picked up a single point with just one 10th place finish in race 3. He won race 1 yesterday. He's about to win race 2 here this morning. Pole position for all 3 races after a fantastic run in qualifying as well. Goes down into the Caro curves for the final time. The red and white team have dominated here this morning. They started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the grid, and they're about to lock out the first 4 positions. Race 2, round 2, here at Misano. The checkered flag is about to wave. Antonelli from pole position goes 2 from 2 and dominates race 2 here at Misano. The Prema Power Team first, second, third and fourth, with Antonelli, Wirtz, Wharton and Kamada dominating this world-class field here this morning. Marcus Amann, the best of the rest in P5, ahead of Conrad Malson, also for the Prema Power Team. Stensone, Dominguez, Bedran, Stuka, Meyer just crosses the line ahead of Taylor. Brando Badoer in car 33, P12, ahead of Marcus Flack. What more can we add to this? Antonelli wins by exactly 5 seconds. His last lap, a 1:36.123, which would have been good enough for midfield as we look at Alex Dunn. Midfield in qualifying at least. His best lap would have put him on pole position. Alex Dunn certainly has lost the championship lead here this morning. Starting at the back of the grid, went a lap down in the opening stages. And the Irishman walks back to the pits, and we'll have it all to do this afternoon. A race to forget for Alex Dunn. Classified as 33rd, a DNF. Antonelli, a perfect drive to dominate one of the quietest F4 races we've ever seen since the series inception in 2014. His championship is back on track. Antonelli wins for the second time this weekend from his teammates, plural, Wirtz, Wharton and Kamada. Marcus Amann, the best of the rest in P5. From Lawson, Stensone, Dominguez, Bedran and Kasper Stuka in position 10. Meyer did get the better of Taylor just at the end. Brando, Marcus Flack, Fittipaldi recovered to 15th from Bora, Dirk Medjian, Spinner, as we look at the championship standings. And with that, Rafa Kamara has taken the championship lead now by 4 points over Alex Dunn. 2 from 2 for Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He wins for the second time this year, for the second time this weekend here at Misano.
Yeah, let's start again, huh?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Junior, figlio della leggenda brasiliana del velocità per primo, il giovane Emerson, 15 davanti all'americano. Andiamo al podio.
Grande questo!
Good job.
Admittedly, not the most exciting race we've ever seen in F4 racing, but his championship is back on track. James Morton, third place and now third in the series. Good drive from Charlie, who initially led off the start to come home in P2. And the second win of the weekend. His championship attack is back on track. Antonelli is down in pit lane now.
So, first in qualifying, first yesterday in the race, first now. Are you aiming to a perfect weekend?
Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for, especially, as I said yesterday, after a bad weekend in Mimola, I'm trying to recover as many points as possible. So yeah, I'm trying to do my best in all races, and so far it's going good. So we'll see if we can do the same next race.
Thank you.
Race 2, round 2 here at Misano. Charlie Wirtz from the outside of the front row of the grid jumped his teammate to lead the Prema Power Team attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down into the Rio curves for the first time. It all went wrong for the championship leader, Alex Dunn, who went a lap down on the opening lap of the race, still circulating, but would ultimately retire. Antonelli with a replay of the move he put on his teammate Kamara yesterday. In the opening stages from there, no one saw which way the Italian went. He pulled away to win by 5 seconds. Charlie Wirtz stabilised in second place for his first podium of the weekend. Ivan Dominguez, this great move around the outside of Nikita Bedrin, Arias Dergmedjian and Emo Fittipaldi, Andy Kilporter, the 3 American-born drivers, going wheel to wheel for the places outside the top 10. But out front, Antonelli, unstoppable. It was a practice session for the Italian. His championship is back on track. He moves into 4th in the series on 51 points, behind Wharton on 54, Dunn on 73, and Rafa, the new championship leader, on 77 points. The Prema Power Team 1, 2, 3, and 4 here this morning at Misano.
VSK per premiare I protagonisti. Cominciamo
Congratulations
con
to
il podio
James Morton.
dell'assoluta al terzo posto dall'Australia, Team Prema, con I colori di Ferrari Driver Academy, James Anthony Wharton.
So the Kangaroo in position 3, the Australian, followed home the Austrian Charlie Wirtz. Great start, great drive all morning from Charlie to finish in second place. And the Prema Power Team first, second and third here at Misano this morning. Antonelli, his championship, is back on track. He takes his second victory of the season and of the weekend here at Misano. The Prema Power Team, look at this, what a display. First, second, third and fourth with Rafa, the new championship leader as well. Mr. Luca De Dono, president of WSK Promotion, presents the trophies to James, Charlie, and of course, the race winner, Andrea Antonelli. Reminiscent of the days of Schumacher, Barrichello and Irvine. Quite simply, who can stop the red team? The Prema Power team dominate here this morning. First, second, third and fourth. Race 2 has been dominated by the team from Vicenza. Join us for race 3 this afternoon, live from Misano. We'll see you then.